Where Winds Meet is quickly becoming one of the most popular games out there. The open world is huge, the game itself is a ton of fun, there's tons of things to do, and it's completely free to play. However, it can get very overwhelming with all the different things you can do, all the different game modes, and the fact that there's tons and tons of menus. It's just very easy to get lost and a little bit confused. In today's video, I'm going to be highlighting a handful of beginner tips and tricks to help you make sure you're not lost and get a better understanding of what you have to do each day to continuously progress your character. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into it. As you start exploring the world, you're going to encounter a handful of just different animals and herbs and berries and just raw resources in general that you can basically harvest and loot in order to use in a handful of different ways. So for example, we just killed this deer, we can now harvest it and we got some meat and some fur. If you open your inventory and click the Develop tab, one of the first things I recommend you do is actually enhance as much as you can. We can use that deer fur to basically enhance the overall power of our helmet and also our greaves. This is not specific to a certain piece of gear, but the slot itself, so it's permanent and highly recommend that you do it as soon as possible. Next up, you can actually craft directly through your inventory like this and utilize a handful of different herbs, berries, and even like game meat like we just got from that deer to craft different foods and even health potions to help us through difficult battles that we're probably going to run into down the road. So for example, I just made some savory roast. If you go back to your crafting menu, you can take a closer look at all the different categories too, like manuals. You can actually construct things in the open world. We'll talk about that later. And of course, like I said, you can craft medicine and like health potions that really do have a big impact. You can also craft signposts, which is the cheapest way to get them, in case that is something you're interested in doing. More on that in just a second. Signposts are these little white objects that are sticking out of the ground, and they usually have real messages from real players that are helpful tips and tricks of things you can do in the area to get something. For example, this random person said look up and shoot this bee's nest with your bow and arrow and get a free goodie. So long story short, if you see these posts, stop what you're doing, read them, and chances are high there's something good in the area. As you probably already know, when it comes to combat, one of the best things you can do is parry. Take a look at that blue bar every time I successfully parry, which is essentially dodging, deflecting the attack, because it's setting me up to take down the enemy's stamina for a huge chunk of damage. You're going to want to try to land as many parries as possible just in the open world, and especially when it comes to boss battles like this. Next up, let's talk about increasing your level cap. So every 10 levels, you have to actually complete a bit of a solo challenge. You can get there by clicking this button right here. And essentially, you have to complete this challenge in order to unlock the next 10 levels. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Every time you hit that level, you have to go to this menu, do the challenge, and then you can advance to the next level. Keep in mind too that depending on when you're watching this, there may actually be a time gate where you can't actually advance the next 10 levels until a certain amount of days. Friendly reminder, if you haven't already, consider hitting that like button and subscribing if you've learned something new. Okay, let's jump back to it. Quick public service announcement. If you ever see butterflies, stop what you're doing and just start chasing them. The actual items you get from all of these different colored butterflies leads to you further developing your character, and they are very sought after. So again, stop what you're doing, chase them until they come to this same flower type thing, claim the reward, and then move on to whatever you were doing. Next up, let's talk about dailies and weeklies. By going to the shop menu and then offers and then exchange shop and then, I know it's confusing, season shop, there's a handful of items you want to make sure you purchase as soon as you can. Every week these reset, but you're going to want to pick up these, you're going to want to pick up the custom tips, the inner way note chest, and you really want to just pick up all of these that you can because you really want to get all these martial arts breakthroughs, the commerce coins, the inner way notes, And again, you can pick up even more of these chests once you hit a certain amount of jadefish each week. You can see that in the lower right corner. But again, every single week, make sure you purchase all of these because it will greatly enhance the amount of development your character will get across the board. You can also pick up these if you want to. You can use those to basically enchant more of your gear. There is some gear chests available here, but I would not really worry about that until you're like level 61 or 71 for some random gear here and there. Next up, at the profession development, you're going to want to purchase the Scholar, Healer, and Custom Career gift box. All of these, it's not like you choose between Healer or Scholar. You're going to be both, so you might as well purchase both just to help the development of those. In this last section, Appearance Exchange, it's exactly what you assumed. There's just tons and tons of different skins and helmets and things like that. So if there is a cool cosmetic you want to go for, save up and just go for it. Again, it's just impacting the appearance of your character. However, if you scroll all the way down, you can get the weekly Jadefish collection item, this Lingering Melody, and this allows you to get a free roll. Well, not really free, but a cheap roll at the best gamba you can get in this game for the coolest skins and cosmetics. If we just jump into the actual draws themselves, I can chat a little bit more about that. So in your main menu right here, if you go to draw, there's essentially two different ways you can draw or gamba for skins. This is the cheap one right here. You can use this Echo Jade for rolls. I don't recommend doing it right off the bat. There's better things you can spend Echo Jade on, but this is the one I'm talking about. It costs real money just to roll for this these cool skins. Here's a closer look at some of the cosmetics. And again, once per week, you can get a roll, so you might as well go for it. There's cool horse mount skins, a handful of other items. There's weapon skins, and these blow everything else out of the water, honestly. So again, I highly recommend that once per week, you just test your luck and see if you can get something cool, because hey, why not? Speaking of weekly things, if you go over to the sect menu right here, there's a handful of different options. You can join a specific sect to get, certain benefits. You can just jump in and kind of take a closer look there. There's this whole separate side mission you have to do for that. But what I really want to talk about are these missions right here. You can essentially get these different tokens per week through these reputation missions, and a lot of them are super easy. There is a weekly limit, so you might as well do it because there are some pretty cool items in the store that you can use that currency on. Once you actually are part of a sect, each sect will have its own consumables and different items that you can actually pick up on that are pretty helpful and just cool in general. So there is a purpose to kind of getting these rewards in this new kind of shop as well. So it's just another thing to kind of be aware of. Did you know you can actually build things in this game too? So for example, you may encounter like a huge swamp or someplace that is just hard to get around. By clicking F4 on PC, you can actually place items to build things to help you get through certain challenges. That could be a pathway to get through certain areas like this, or a ladder to climb up certain steep areas, and anything in between. You can even build your own house in a way in any specific spot that is just interesting to you, so keep that in mind too. Another random fun fact is that you will eventually encounter different mirrors in houses like this, and you can interact with them twice per day. If you go ahead and comb your hair in front of the mirror, you will unlock a new hairstyle. And again, you can do this twice per day just for a free new cosmetic kind of look when it comes to your hairstyles, so you might as well do it. You can try a third one, but you're just going to get this pop up here. But again, free hairstyle, so why not? This next tip might be the most important one yet. Check out where I'm at in the world map. I'm looking for this Oddity Master right over here, and this is where I'm going to basically turn in all of those rare items like those butterflies or those bees nests, and essentially exchanging them for progression for my character. Again, this is where it is on the map. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out a little bit, and we're looking for this guy right here. This is what he looks like. You just go ahead and go up to him and start the conversation, and then click Submit Oddities. As you can tell, there's a skill tree like thing right here, and you can exchange these oddities in regards to additional skills or higher HP, higher physical damage, defense, and a little bit of everything. I'm going to go ahead and just submit a few here to show you how exactly it works, but as you can quickly tell, there is a lot here that you can add just to enhance your overall character's power. So again, make sure you chase those butterflies and make sure you turn them in at this NPC to get the most out of them. Next up, let's talk about cats. More specifically, I want to show you where I'm at on the world map. You're trying to go over to the Meow Meow temple. Before I talk to this NPC, friendly call out and another PSA. If you ever see a cat, just pet it. You just get some freebies, so you might as well just do it. But more importantly, after you actually solve a handful of puzzles from cats that you'll encounter throughout your adventure, you're going to be able to spend that currency at this Meow Meow temple to get more of these gambas at the really fancy skin shop. So again, there's a handful of other goodies you can get here too, but I did want to call out that it's worth petting those cats and doing those cat puzzles because you'll eventually get some currency and get some more free rolls without spending money for potentially a huge hit and some great skins. Next up, I wanted to call out a way to get some free items. If you go to settings and then scroll over to other and then click exchange code, I have a handful of codes that you can type in and just get a bunch of free stuff. So the first one is WWM251115. Go ahead and click confirm and then you'll get a gift sent to your mailbox. The next one is WWMGO1115. Go ahead and click confirm. Next up, WWMGO1114. Go ahead and confirm that one. I think I've got two more. Next one is WWMGL and then YouTube. And then the very last one is that same part, WWMGL and then TikTok. And then you click confirm and you'll be able to get the free goodies. To be more specific, if you go to your mail right here, all of the rewards will be right here so you can claim them and you just get some free stuff. And I mean, hey, who doesn't like free stuff? The very last tip I wanted to call out is energy usage. To be more specific, if you go into your inventory and click wandering paths, for example, you're going to see a handful of different activities, and in the top right, you're going to see your energy. This is a resource that you have to use in order to claim rewards or do certain activities. You can get items to actually automatically add some stamina, but they are pretty hard to get, so you want to be pretty smart about which activities you end up choosing. For example, you can go ahead and do campaign challenges. You can do these outpost challenges where there's multiple waves and a chest at the end of each wave that costs stamina to basically open the chest. And there's just a handful of other multiplayer modes as well, like sword trials, where you can do a handful of other challenges or even boss fights and things like that. So again, you want to be very careful on how you use your stamina, and at the same time, you want to make sure you actually do use your stamina so you're not just capped out and doing nothing. So if you do only have like an hour to jump on, I recommend just burning through your stamina to get a good chunk of rewards and experience. And that really covers it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe and let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.